It's my position now that before Skagit PUD moves into that gleaming $22 million edifice at the end of its road there, they have to deal with the things over at the other edify at the 100 block of Snoqualmie and potentially in other places as well. 22 million. Pepper, we like the new building. We just think they need to take care of their responsibilities. I know, right? Everybody's crying about it.
I mean, it just comes down to just negligence. This happened out of pure negligence. There's a bad install, even per state, from the Department of Health as far as installation of water mains. It was done improperly. I got pictures, obviously, of it laying right on my sewer main on a botched repair in the right-of-way that no homeowner would do. So.
Well, all right, terrific then. As you all know from last time, most of you were here. I'm Christopher King. I'm a seasoned professional in property matters and things of that nature. And my friend Matthew Peterson is over at 109 Snoqualmie Street, where he has a serious issue at his house because of the water main from PUD that was laying directly on top of his sewer lateral in perpendicular fashion. So, since the last time we spoke, a number of things have been elucidated, as I talked with Kevin a little bit about, but it's my position now that before Skagit PUD moves into that gleaming $22 million edifice at the end of its road there, they have to deal with the things over at the other edify at the 100 block of Snoqualmie and potentially in other places as well. Okay, so what I now know concretely since that time, and there has to be a study, it's going to cost some money, but I submit that owing to the disingenuity that I found in the responses from Skagit PUD, they're the ones who should pay for it. Ultimately, that may come down to taxpayers. But what I specifically found, and I know I sent you guys a lot of emails, so I've summarized it, and I'm presenting to you tonight this initiative, and I've spoken with Councilor Tercero about this as well. So I thought I'd do a draft and see what the rest of you may concur with or however. But a couple of key points from this draft is that, where do I start? Let's start with causation first. I think it's pretty obvious that that pipe was laid right across the top. And when Skagit PUD, this is where this ingenuity comes in, when they showed the photographs that I requested, they showed everything cleaned up. But they never showed the before picture with the impacting mud. You can clearly see that there's a downward pressure on that pipe. And that is what the city, I've attached one of the emails from the city insurance agent, or their insurance reviewer or adjuster or whoever. She said to them in an email, hey, looks like you caused the problem. She basically said that. I mean, not in legal terms, but she said your pipes have done this. So there's a problem there. And then I want to quote two things before I close here in this document before I sign off, but they're very important. The open trench was supposed to be 42 inches, okay? So depth of 42, it was a minimum 42 inches. And it was written by someone who's not an independent contractor. Why is that important? It's important because in what was basically a denial letter to us, Skagit PUD gave us $4,000 on a $35,000 claim. And one of the things they said was that there could have been a heavy weight on the right-of-way. There seems facts not in the record. That was never postulated. But then the worst part is when he said that this work was done by an independent contractor. I'm going to quote. You also assume the Skagit PUD installed the water main. However, it is our understanding the work was completed by an independent contractor circa 1984. First off, that's wrong. It was 1986. Did he read the same drawings I read? I mean, I've been reading these drawings for 25 years. I can read them. It was 1986. And the further problem is it was not an independent contractor. It was Gregory Peterka. I can never say his name correctly. He was over there for 35 years, I believe, before he retired and he passed on last year. And not to speak ill of the dead, not my concern. My concern is my friend's house and the homeowners and the taxpayers. But the bottom line is his drawing specs, and I have them here for you, indicated minimum 42 inches. We now know that never happened. It was indeed placed about 10 inches below the frost line, which is a foot here. So then after that came the sewer lateral. So later on when they fixed it now I bet you it's at a depth of 42 inches. Sure. But, and then here's the telling part of his quote. He said, so even if you could prove that the line was damaged during the install of the water main, we would contend that the contractor is responsible and not Skagit PUD. Well, the contractor was Skagit PUDs. So that's who was in that trench at that time and laid that water main. So it's a problem. And then the other thing that was mentioned, one thing I've already covered that, was that the insurance carrier, the city's insurance carrier, had publicly told them, it appears a water main owned and operated by Skagit PUD placed pressure on the homeowner's sewer lateral, causing damages. You know, and yeah, and you can see in the pictures that it wasn't 42 inches. Anybody can see that by where the man is standing in the photo. And then I have the as-built that the homeowner did, and they show the depth of 30 inches for his sewer lateral. And then the last thing, of course, are the CDs. Now, I was told that these were as-built, and I can't determine whether or not that's true. But be they CDs, they're not ZDs. They're more than zoning drawings. They're definitely CDs, and they could whatever. But it says right here, depth, minimum depth, and then Gregory Peterka, who was not a random IC. He was a staffer at that time and had been there for some time and continued to be there for decades. So if anything, if he was an IC, they certainly ratified his conduct because they kept him on for 30 years. So that's kind of where I'm at. And it's really disturbing because there are other people involved. And so again, I want to make this clear for the record. I have no issues with anybody sitting here, or council nor council. The issue is not with you. And I appreciate you listening to these concerns, and then I'll talk with Councilor Tercero later, I'm sure, after he reviews this. But they have some explaining to do, Lucy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. Anyone else here wishing to address council?
Take a look at the new dig, shall we? 22 million. Millions and millions and millions. As they say, they can see it being constructed right here. Isn't that special? Pepper, we like the new building. We just think they need to take care of their responsibilities. I know, right? Everybody's crying about it.
I must find some way to keep Christmas from coming.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel.
I must stop Christmas from coming. But how? The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea.